Hello.
Hey man, how are you?
How are you?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Uh,
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm gonna try to speak. I'm from Spain, so
cool.
yeah. So although I've been living in the UK for a couple of years,
Yeah.
now I'm focused on my project. So I'm not spending too much time speaking English. So uh,
Yeah. You
so to,
speak good.
yeah.
You're speaking great. So, no, thanks for reaching out to us, man. It's always fun to get to riff on why we use Divi and what we've got going on as an agency. And yeah, I love to talk to people like you, man. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, honestly, I was a little bit surprised when I was sending all the emails to people like you using
Yeah.
DB and this kind of framework or product. And you said to me, okay, I would like to have a chat with you, and nobody else said to me anything about that. So I was confused at the beginning, but I think it's great to have the opportunity to talk about DB with you as a real expert, because although
Sure.
I've been working with it for a couple of, well, I don't know, I started long time ago, but I was working at the same time in the UK in a web agency, so I didn't have too much time to focus entirely on the product. But I think it's
Yeah.
great. So many people use Genesis. We say Genesis, uh,
Genesis.
which is fine, but I think there are so many people in the market, I mean, normal users, with not too much knowledge about web design, so sometimes it's difficult to deal with HTML, CSS. So I think DB and Divi Builder, is great for,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, just tell me whatever you want to chat about, and because I would like to, if you agree, to show people this video if you want to.
Yeah. Sure. I think that's great, and I always prefer. Let's see here. I always prefer to do a conversation, not face to face or like this medium here, because it's so much easier than just typing the response. You know what I mean? There's actually some context behind it.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
trying to pull up your message so I can look at your questions.
Yeah, I wrote them down anyway.
Okay, perfect. So let's just do that. Ask away, and let's talk about Divi.
Yeah, basically, the main question is, why did you decide to use DB and DB Builder and all
Mhm.
the elegant themes product on your daily basis to build websites rather than Genesis or, I don't know,
Yeah.
a different one? So
I mean, our team, so we have a staff of, there's 24 of us that work here at Evol. And we tackle a lot of web design, web development, and then we also do a lot of like marketing and advertising. A lot of our clients are local or mid-level business,
mm-hmm.
right? So they're not going to have like the enterprise level budgets. I mean, some of them do, don't get me wrong. But the point I'm making is we're very cognizant of local business budget, right? So for a lot of the enterprise companies, swinging six figures at a site, no big deal. But for a lot of these mid-level businesses, you have to come in at a price point that's palatable for their budget. Otherwise, you're not going to get the contract. And so for us, WordPress has always been that solution. It allows us, I mean, the amount of hand coding that has to go into something, at least when we're not looking at a custom solution, just to stand something up, it's great. It saves us a ton of time, and it gets our clients to market more quickly and efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier you mentioned Genesis. Like, I've played with that way back in the day. Visual Composer, I think that thing is an absolute turd. It's clunky. It's not fun to use, and so I am kind of an OG Divi user. I've been using it for a long time, and I just got really, really comfortable in it, and then I really started getting attached to the community and watching all of the updates get rolled out. It has such a cool, thriving community, and so we made the decision that we were going to use Divi for the majority of our projects, just because of the amount of robust functionality that it offers right out of the box. So for some newer designers and newer developers, that really makes their job easier, because they're not having to custom code a lot of these solutions. And then once they get comfortable in Divi, they are able to start integrating a lot of their custom CSS and JS to really take it to the level. So we also wanted to standardize our process. You know, with 24 people, there's going to be overlap. There always is.
Yeah.
So Mitch, for example, if he's working on a project and he needs some help, so we're an agile agency. We use Scrum. So if he needs somebody to hop in and help him with one of his sprints, they have to be able to know what they're looking at quickly. So standardizing the framework was a very important part of that process for us. And I really liked where Divi was going when we made that decision. I also like that, any one of our designers can come up with any kind of design for a mock-up for a client, and we can build it in Divi. We're not at the mercy of, well, we have to use this template or this frame or this theme to achieve this. Like, with the right amount of custom code, you can pull anything off. You know what I mean? So it's a perfect solution for our agency.
So you would say 100% sure that Divi is one of your main frameworks at the moment.
Yeah. So right now, our numbers, we build about, I'd say 300 websites a year is kind of what our agency opened. Yeah. And I'd say 95% of those are on Divi. The only time that we don't put something on Divi is if the client comes to us and says, I specifically want to use this frame. And even then we'll have the conversation of how we can build it on Divi anyways. Or if we're finishing a project for somebody else, that's a circumstance that does happen here, where a company will come to us and say, hey, I had a guy that worked in my office. He was building this site. He doesn't work for me anymore. I've got a really limited budget. Can you guys just go in and finish this? And it's on Visual Composer. All right.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But if we have the choice, we pick Divi every time.
So is it the normal trend in the US at the moment? I mean, do you know so many different web agencies using Divi as the main WordPress theme or framework?
So I do a lot within the community here, the web design, web development community here in the region. I'm connected to a lot of groups across the country. Some of my really close friends also own agencies across the country. Some of them are using Divi. Some of them were using it before we really established our relationship. And then there's been some that I've converted to believers over my time getting to know them.
Okay.
And this could just be, me having my own agency blinders on. Like, I don't really know what the standard is across the country. I really think it's going to come to user preference, right? Like,
that's right. Yeah.
What are you comfortable in? Because that's what's going to drive your workflow and your efficiency.
Yeah, because I think with Genesis, which is great if you are a front-end developer, the main problem is that here, well, I say here, in Europe, but well, maybe in Spain, people in Spain, they are so used to buy Genesis as the main framework, and then they are really pissed off because they don't know anything about HTML, CSS, and it's not easy, it's not intuitive, it's not. I prefer so much Divi, and I recommend Divi as well as Divi Builders to so many different users. So I think they are happy about that. But the main problem is that the Spanish community is so. We have a really big problem with English. We don't like to, I don't know, to spend so much time because we think it's really, really hard to learn English. And I think all the documentation I find in Divi, as well as Divi Builder, Monarch, and all these plugins, is really easy. And we have, on top of that, so many videos from elegant themes, which make everything easier. So I think my main purpose is to try to communicate with people in Spain and maybe South America to understand that this product is really, really great and can make different websites in a really, really fast way. And yeah, it's great for me. I'm really happy about that, to be honest. I just needed to have experience, outside the country, and have the experience, share the opinions with people like you in the US, and you are, I don't know, we always look upon United States. So if you are saying to me honestly that it's a great product, I'm really more comfortable and more sure that it's gonna help me as a professional web designer in the future too.
Sure. No, I drink the Divi Kool-Aid all day long, man. Like I'm a big believer in it. I think it's the best product in the marketplace. And you touched on like the documentation and the video like library. Man, that thing is invaluable for me. When I hire a new employee, I don't have the time to sit with them for a week and get them caught up to speed. I mean, we have project managers and managers and directors and whatnot that they're more plugged into the training process than I am. But even them, I mean, they've got other stuff and other projects they're working on. So to be able to say on day one, or even before they come in for their first day, hey, here's this site. I want you to go watch these videos because this is going to give you the background for Divi that you need to know. It makes my life so much easier.
Easier.
Get them caught up to speed quickly, man. And that's really, our agency's known for a couple things, quality being number one, but then the speed at which we turn sites and projects out is another piece that we're really well known for. A lot of that comes down, there's two ways we do that, right? One, we use Divi, and two, we're very process driven. So those two things together, it's like the perfect recipe for expedient success.
Yeah, and what about the library, Divi library, which is inside of Divi Builder too? It allows you to save quite a long time, right?
Oh my God! Like without the Divi library,
you will be.
Well, even before the library, I mean, I was saving like every CSS file that we wrote, and we had like this library of like, if you're wanting to achieve this look and feel or this type of functionality, go grab this snippet and pull it in. With the library now, like, man, it makes it so easy and it's so fast. And so, the library.
Basically, you don't have to build a website from scratch, right? By selecting different libraries, you have a layout or something to start, which is great. I mean, and then you can customize it entirely if you want with properties and this kind of thing, or CSS even. So
our teams love it, and like every project that they run or we run as a team, the goal is to always bake in like, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 5 to 10 things you've never done before from a look and feel or functionality standpoint, right? Always pushing to get better. And then what we're doing is we're taking all of that, putting it into our own Evol library here at the office. And so when you're spinning up a new site, you can go grab these pieces very, very quickly.
Yeah, I understand.
You're adding your 5 new things. So it's like everything, we're always getting better and always leveling up, but we're working smarter, not harder kind of deal. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
But what do you do? Do you save entirely layout, entirely page, or modules? Different modules?
I do both honestly. Both. So
or sections, everything, rows.
Yes, I do all of it honestly. Like, so let's say I'm building like a global footer that I'm going to use at the bottom of every page. I'll bake that out, save that as a global footer, as a section, and I can go call that in on any page. Now, once I'm getting to the point where, let's say I'm bringing over 100 blog posts from their old site, and let's say that it's on Wix or Squarespace, and so the process of migrating from that CMS to WordPress, pain in the ass, don't want to mess with it, right? So I'll go build out the generic look and feel of the post, and then we'll save that layout so that any member of the team knows, okay, all I have to do is grab the assets from the old build, or I need to create custom photos for the new build, get those compressed, load that layout, and just pull my content in. So what used to take an hour a post or a page, we've really shaved it down to like, I think our record for running posts is like 5.5 minutes per post. Then you're just an assembly line, just like, and it makes life great, man.
So how long does it take you to build a website?
It depends on the project. It depends on the project, the scope.
Yeah, I understand.
And then honestly, the client, right? Some clients are super easy to work with. Some people are just super picky. Here's a good example. I won a project. I won this contract with a plastic surgeon, and he had a guy that was working on rebuilding the site. I think he'd been working on it for like a year, and it was nowhere. I think it was like 30% done, and it didn't look good. And this guy, this doctor, was just super jaded on working with people from our industry, and it was about a 550-page site. And so he said, "I'll give you a shot at doing it, but I need it done in a month." I was like, "All right." And so we put together our plan of attack, and we got it done in 2 weeks. The site has had a lot of positive attention. It's turned a lot of heads in the industry from a design standpoint. It did really well. We're very we front end load a lot of our steps and requirements with the client to make sure that they sign off on them before we're developing or designing. So then that way, when we are actually in our development cycle and we're using Divi, it is that assembly line process. So like we go through the process of making sure that sitemap is approved, content inventory is signed off on, homepage mockup, good to go, subpage mockup, approved and good to go. All of that stuff is done before we even spin up our dev environment and actually start piecing it together. So then when we are actually in development, we can usually get them pieced together in a couple days, and then over to the client for their round of revisions. They have X amount of rounds based on their contracts, but our average development time for our average site that we're working on is about 50 to 100 pages. When we're actually in using Divi, we're looking at probably a day to 2 days.
Oh my goodness. So it's great. It's good news for me, because I'm really happy about the product. And what about the customer? Is it easier for them for him to create new pages when the website is done? What's your experience? So, are they happy about that? Or
they love how visual the GUI is, for sure. It's pretty rare that we build a site, like a turnkey site, and like we're done with it and we hand it to them and that's it. The majority of our projects and our clients, they go from the front end creative side straight into marketing. But for the client that we do design the site for them, for whatever reason they don't move to marketing, so we've already built out like tutorials that we have screenshots on. We send that over to the client with the link to the video documentation. So we basically say, all right, look, like take an afternoon and watch all these videos, read this tutorial. This is your new Bible. And then we do offer some training for some of the clients. So if they want to come in and spend a couple hours with one of our designers or developers, we put the back end of their site up on our television in our conference room, and we show them, like, here's how you would create a page. Here's how you can clone this page. Here's what Yoast is going to do for. I mean, we really walk them through all of it. If time and budget align with where we're at.
That's true, because I remember some customer coming into our office in the UK where I used to work, because they prefer to have a chat with us in front of us and see exactly how we do it. But I think by making videos and on top of that, helping them with the documentation on the website on Elegant Themes is great. What's your opinion then? Because we most of the time talk about Divi, but Divi Builder is pretty much going into the same package, right?
Yeah.
You use Divi Builder to add content.
I mean, we're using Divi as a frame or a theme. I've actually not plugged in the Divi Builder using a different theme before. It's just I've never had the need to. But yeah, the Divi Builder is where we spend all of our time. When Divi 3.0 came out, I was really excited for the front end editor. I played with it, but then I went right back to using the builder in the back end, because that's where my comfort's at. You know what I mean? And so that's how our team is trained. They like that side of it more. And because of the amount of custom code that we are writing, it just makes sense for their brains to see the back end as opposed to the front end.
So you prefer to use the backend rather than...
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that. Because you are adding so much code. CSS?
Mm-hmm. CSS and JavaScript, yeah.
JavaScript.
Okay. And we do a bit of custom PHP as well. Again, it just comes down to the need and the scope. So like our average project's gonna include a good chunk of custom CSS and custom JavaScript, and then some of the higher level projects are going to include custom PHP and whatnot.
So you use the general setting. I don't know how to say that in English, but in order to link the JavaScript to the website, or is it including Divi or?
So there's the integration panel in Divi that allows you to include scripts, whether in the head file or the body file.
And the jQuery too.
Right, exactly. So that's where a lot of it gets plugged in. I'm really excited to see like how they continue to move that part of it along with, like introducing the code module was really cool. And I don't remember when that came out, but I remember looking at that and thinking, this is cool, right? Like, because you used to just to bake that into the text editor. And so now it has its own module. So I'm really excited to see what Elegant Themes does with that, or what other companies are going to roll out in terms of custom plugins that create custom modules. That's another part of Divi, or the Divi community, that I love, is all of these guys or these companies that are writing these plugins, full width header extended, image intense, right? Like all of the cool stuff that Divi's already badass as it is, but then these guys help take it to the next level, and it's a quick solution.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, the community is really important. Not only the customer who are using Divi, but new developers who rely on the product and they are improving it. I don't remember exactly the name of some of them, but I know that there is a plugin which allows you to improve the footer, I think. And
yeah.
I didn't have time enough to have a look at it. But yeah, I think it's right. And one thing they are doing all the time is improving the products. I have a friend who said to me, well, but they reduced the number of plugins now, so they have got 3 instead of 6, which are Divi Builder, Monarch, and Bloom, and they got rid of 3, which is, I don't remember, they were not so useful, but I think it's the right movement, because they prefer to invest time improving the really, really important plugins, which are those 3, rather than splitting the time by spending more time.
I don't even remember what the other 3 were called either. So clearly they
are not too important, right?
Well, yeah, they weren't important enough for us to remember. But like Bloom and Monarch, I mean, I use those on almost every one of our projects. We're using those plugins and solutions. They're very well done, for sure.
Yeah. And what about the speed? I know the side of the plugin and the Divi is quite high if you compare it with the Genesis. But this is the key, I think. If you want to have everything available for you rather than writing code, you have to increase the number of lines. Is it working well in terms of speed?
It's added some extra steps to our process, that's for sure. But once we identified what we had to do, like the minification of your JS and CSS files, adding a couple extra layers of compression on all of your image files. So there's a couple solutions that we're using internally that have allowed us to get that site speed score like up to where it needs to be. So out of the box, it doesn't do that. That's something that I'm sure Elegant Themes knows that the community is talking about, and we'll probably hopefully see that updated this year. But in the meantime, we have a solution that we're using in-house.
Yeah, I think one of the most important thing is the hosting, right? Your server, where your website is located, right? To me, it's working fine at the moment. It doesn't take too long to load my whole website, less than 2 seconds, which is more than enough at the moment.
I'm a Flywheel guy through and through. I mean, I've used damn near every host out there. Flywheel, man, they're just right up the street from us. They're one of the coolest companies. Huge shout out to Jessica. She's awesome at what she does. We exclusively use Flywheel for all of our development environments for our own site, but then also we don't resell hosting. It's not part of our game or our model. So we get asked a lot by our clients, where should I host this? And my answer is always Flywheel. They're also making it very, very easy. Each site comes with a free SSL, and it's literally a toggle switch to install the SSL. They're a good company, and they're doing stuff like Elegant Themes does, right? Where it's like, let's just make this so simple and user friendly for the community, and they're blowing up because of it. So that's my shame. I do not work for Flywheel. I want to clarify that. I don't. I don't make any money from them.
But you're happy about that, so it's right to talk in a nice way about the product and the company. That's right. I mean, one of the things, I am starting with my project, but I joined the affiliate program on Elegant Themes, and I'm gonna start talking about them. Of course, I can make money, but if you are happy about that, it's something that comes out naturally. So there is nothing wrong about talking in an honest way about a product you are happy about. So this is something which is great too, that you can make money by talking about Divi too, because they have got the program, so you can get 50% of every single product if you are able to sell it through your website. And I got the other day like £100 or something like that, because someone, two people decided to get the product, and I did nothing. And do you think they need to improve something in particular? Are you unhappy about something they need to improve quite a lot? Or?
My biggest qualm with Divi used to be targeting certain elements using CSS within modules, right? Like I remember a couple of years ago, if I'd use the image module, to assign a class or an ID to it was pretty tricky, and then to actually have my code applied to that module, it used to be a lot tougher than it is now. So my solution at the time was I would just write a custom class, I'd put that in the text editor, and off we go, and I'd just write the CSS to do it by hand. I love that they've made it so much easier to assign custom classes and IDs with the custom CSS panel in each module. The one thing I really wish that they would do is present alternative layouts for the nav. They did start making some moves there with moving things like with the drawer on the side and then like the full screen. But I think to have more control over where the nav elements are placed would be really cool. That's one thing.
Navigation bar, you mean?
Yeah, the navigation. So there's a frame out there called Salient, and that's one thing that they've done really well. Is they've baked in probably, God, and forgive me if I'm misquoting. It's been a while since I've been in there, but like 10 different things that you can do within the navigation. Well, each one of those things can be paired with other things, so you get a lot of possibilities, right, to how you can lay out that nav. Right now, we're just custom coding it based on how we design it in the mockup process. So that'd be one thing that I'd really like to see Elegant Themes roll out. Is more attention to the navigation, because it's pretty easy for me to spot a Divi build in the wild, if you will, right? Like when I've got a client that comes in, it's like, oh shit, this is built on Divi, and I can tell just when I load into the homepage for the first time, just because the nav and the footer, those are the biggest tells of a Divi build.
This is what I normally do when I want to see that website has been built in Divi. Yeah. I pay attention to the footer. And
yes, the social icons in the bottom right. It's like,
those. And where do you place the CSS code? On a Divi, on a theme, WordPress theme, or child theme? Sorry.
So within the child theme, the style sheet in there, or just within the theme options CSS panel. I mean, both have worked just fine. It depends on the child theme that we're building on, basically, and then a lot of it's coming down to the preference of the team. I've got one of my guys that loves working in the editor. I've got another guy that does it all like in Sublime Text, and he just pulls it into the CSS, custom CSS panel. But I mean, the majority of it's going to happen within the child theme CSS style sheet.
Okay, so that's cool. I think I'm done about that. Would you like to talk a little bit about your company in order to, so that people can know a little bit more about, I mean, in Spain and Are you doing
Yeah,
something really special? Are you trying to reach some clients in Europe, or are you actually doing that? Um,
yeah. So we're based out of Lincoln, Nebraska. I owned an agency in Denver, Colorado for several years. Made my exodus tail end of 2015, first part of 16, and we moved back to Lincoln, Nebraska. And it's been a cool, wild ride, man. We are about to hit our 1 year mark. Like I said at the beginning of our conversation, we now have 24 employees. On day one, it was just my wife and myself. And
wow.
so now this is where we're at. We do a lot of work all over the world. Our major markets are eastern Nebraska, Lincoln, Omaha area. We do a lot of work in Colorado. We do a lot of work in like Texas, Florida, New York, and California. Do some work over in Croatia. A lot of stuff that just happens organically because of our referral channels. We're really working hard to build a team that is super creative, solution minded, and always looking to get better at their craft, and people that actually care about what they do. So we've attracted some pretty high caliber talent to the agency just because of how we've structured it. And that's been really neat to watch that unfold, and watch these people work together. We've never had anybody quit. We've invited a few people to leave, but like our retention rate is super high. The types of projects that we're working and clients that we're working with. We've gotten to the point where we can be picky, and we're working projects that we enjoy, which for us, that's when you really see the creativity shine. Is when it's like, this is something I want to do, not something I have to do, which is cool. That makes it a lot more enjoyable when you're running a sprint and working an 8 hour window there. That's if it's a project you don't love,
Yeah, I
that
understand that.
can suck. You know what I mean? So no, it's been a lot of fun. I'm super proud of our culture and the work that we're putting in the market. Um, it's been neat. It's been really cool.
But you prefer to build high quality website rather than, well, maybe one rather than three in a row, which is kind of your child, right? So it's much better to feel proud of what you have done
Yeah.
rather than building three websites with really low quality, and at the end of the day the customer is gonna not gonna be happy, it's gonna
All
be
right.
picky, so it's gonna call you, hey Andrew, I'm really pissed off, I spent time and money on your project, and
All right. Well, we charge a pretty high premium to work with us, and we know that. So, and we're known for quality, and we say this to our clients, like, this thing has to kick ass. It has to look great, because most of the time they're moving over to marketing anyways. So there's that piece, and then two, they're a walking testimony for us whether they like it and or know it. I mean, our credentials, or our credit, our signature, if you will, is in the footer of every build that we do.
yeah.
And we end up using this, the sites that we put out in the market, as examples in our portfolio that we're sending to clients when we're in the prospective contracting phase, right? So it's like, here's some 5 to 10 recent projects that we've done, and we always update that list. So it's like the same content's not out in the marketplace. So it needs to be good for the client, but it needs to be good for us too, for future
Yeah,
business.
first of all
So
for you, yeah. So I think I'm pretty much done, but anything you want to mention, just let me know.
yeah,
Thank you so much for.
no, man, thank you. This is cool. This is a lot of fun. I love riffing about business, and talking about the tools that we use. I mean, Divi is one of the big reasons that our agency is at where it's at right now. It'd be a lot more cumbersome without a company like Elegant Themes really trying to provide these types of solutions for the industry. So I like what they're doing. I like what you're doing, focusing
Thank
on
you.
the product. I think that's really cool. Thanks for the opportunity to talk with you, man. This has been fun.
Thank you so much, and I would like to keep in touch with you because maybe in the future I would like to post more interviews or talking about a specific product or module. And if you are happy about that, at the same time I can show my visitors what you are doing the other side of the world, and I
Yeah.
think it's great. We can.
Anytime, man. Just hit us up. We'll make it happen. We'd love to be a resource for you.
Okay, so Andrew,
Cool.
thank you so much. I wish you all the best. Keep in
You
touch
as well, man.
and
It's
take
been
care.
super fun.
Okay,
Cool.
okay. Thank you so
Cheers.
much. Thank you.
Bye now.